All right, everybody. Welcome today at Presentation Hell Podcast. My name is James Antra. We're here today with Kurt Dupont, CEO and founder of PresentationPoint, DataPoint, as well as SignageTube. He has 25 years experience in presentations, specifically dealing with data being automated onto PowerPoint slides, having slides that are built automatically so that people can use them on the fly and in the real place. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for being here.
Hi, James. Thanks for the invitation. Good morning.
Well, very good. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your company, where you've come from, and why presentations and why the anxiety people have had and what you've done to help people with presentations. This is Presentation Hell, by the way.
Yes, thanks for the introduction, James. Well, I'm Kurt Dupont. I'm living in Belgium, and I started my professional career at Brussels Airport, building a central database for flight information, resource allocations, etc. And at an airport, you have one challenge, that is to bring the information, the hot information, as soon as possible on displays at the airport. So probably 30 years ago, we had 1,000 screens at the airport. And I always thought that if you see flight information on a screen, you're basically looking at a PowerPoint presentation, or you're looking at a presentation. And when you think about a presentation, you think about PowerPoint. So my idea 30 years ago was already to use PowerPoint on television screens at airports to display flight information, because PowerPoint is the best tool that you have on the market to build your slides, to set up text boxes, and so on.
Let me get this right, Kurt. When I walk into an airport and look at one of those screens with all the arrivals and departure flights, fundamentally that was built on a PowerPoint screen with data that you helped connect to it.
No, not really. I was working on the database side to collect the information and send the information to the television systems. Mm-hmm. That was not PowerPoint.
Oh, I see. You were even there beforehand. You made the connection between the Microsoft tool and allowing that data go up, since that's a better tool for being a slide.
Yes, correct. And wow. Just to give an example, 30 years ago, people were using VI, and VI is a editing tool for text, an old editing tool on Unix systems to build those screens. So basically they were using scripting language to build
They were actually writing code to make each individual one. And before that, yes, they were putting little pieces of paper that said 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and put it up there.
Yeah.
Now that's cool.
You know the split flip, where you have those letters and,
that flip.
Characters?
You're showing your age. We've all had, us old people had clock radios that told us the time that way.
Yes. And it's still in use. Because it has the advantage that if the power goes down, you still have the information on the screens.
Wow. If the power goes down, I wouldn't be. If the power goes down, I would be very hesitant to get on a plane. Its ability to know that another flight isn't coming in would be severely challenged. But that's fair enough. So where did this take you? So from this early stage, this sounds like it was early 90s or something like that.
Yeah,
where did it take you in relation to presentations, and how did it help other companies and make a difference? And more importantly, when you talk about it, think about the average person, where they might have seen it or used this type of technology, so that they can make connections between their everyday life and how this technology can benefit them.
Yeah. Nowadays you see presentations and advertising basically at shops, at banks, train stations, airports, and so on. So now you are using some presentation tool where you can link to a database to display real-time and hot information. And we have a great customer that's called Sotheby's. That's an auction house, and they are doing worldwide auctions where they sell objects, etc. In real time. So when you raise your hand, when you add 1 million to the object, it's updated automatically.
All of us are adding 1 million to the bid every time we. That's it. I got another million. Let me do it twice. 1, 2. I'm up to 3 million.
Yeah.
So let me get this right. Your tool, the data component of it, if someone's at an auction house, specifically Sotheby's, they could see the screen, they can see the work of art. It says bid $25. And when I raise my hand and say, I want to raise another million, by the time the guy says, points to me and goes, that number goes up to 1 million because someone changed the database in the back end and it's already on display right there. And it's working real time managing the crowd.
Yeah, that's real time, and you see it in multiple currencies. So you will see it in US dollar, you see it in pounds, in euro, yen, etc. So
sounds like the stairway out of presentation hell, step by step.
Yes. Yes. Another great example is Las Vegas, where they show the
Las Vegas, nice. Like what?
The amount that you have in the jackpot to win.
Oh, the jackpot, nice.
Yes,
that's everyday use. That makes a difference.
As well. That's real-time data.
So people don't know this. What you're saying is many times when you see a screen in, let's say, a fast food store or walking into a hospital or into a building and it says, welcome Kurt Dupont, lunch is at noon, we're happy to see you today, and it changes to another slide, chances are it's PowerPoint and someone has automated data in the background.
Yes.
That's compelling.
Probably PowerPoint and maybe using our software to connect directly to a database to display the information in real time. But it's
okay. What is your software? Name it, please. Tell everybody what that name of that software is.
It's DataPoint. DataPoint is a plugin for PowerPoint where you can connect your slides, your text boxes, tables, pictures, charts, etc. directly to a data source. And it can be an Excel file, it can be a database, it can be an XML file, and so on. You can even display weather information or news on a slide.
Weather or news. So I could put a box on the upper right-hand corner that says weather, and it's queued in by, let's say, a zip code or a region. So if I opened that presentation in, let's say, New York City, it would represent the weather in New York City. If the same presentation is opened in Shanghai, it realistically can show you that it's raining in Shanghai, and that's what it would display in the presentation. That's correct?
That's correct. That's the idea of using that plugin DataPoint.
Wow, that's actually
where
neat.
You always show real-time information without ending the slideshow. It's updating automatically the text boxes and the information that you have on the slide.
So I could put a box up there and have the price of a stock and just keep the slide up, and it would keep changing like a stock ticker. It would say Facebook, 28.3, 28.7, 28.9, and it would
be your company.
Wow, that's very impressive. So fundamentally, slides become a database-driven information and communication tool that way. Much like the web is a database-driven information tool.
Yeah,
very compelling.
Right. And you can display real-time information, and you can also use that same tool to generate slides and presentations for you. Because in a factory, you probably have daily or hourly updates or weekly updates. You have to discuss the production figures with your colleagues, so you will have a weekly meeting, and then you have to update the information numbers that you have on the slide, and that's something that we can automate by using DataPoint.
Wow. So you're saying the communication within a big organization that might have, might have a production line for printing and might have a variety of different items, they can have their issues log, let's say, what problems are happening. We have too much ink, we have too much, scanning, whatever it is their issues are. So when they pull up the slide for the weekly meeting, those issues are already formatted on the slide so you can communicate amongst your whole group and literally move right through the process?
Yes, correct. So you can highlight the problems, you can put it at the top, you can sort based on urgency or whatsoever.
Holy crap. This is like a streamlining enterprise communication system. You actually, like a global enterprise, you can streamline communications and keep people singing off the same sheet of information.
Yes, and you're managing your slides with data. You're managing your presentations with data. Data that you already have in the company.
Data. I'm going to bring up another point here that goes on, and we speak about it. There's two types of slides. There's an emotional slide and a logical slide. Data is a logical slide. But us humans, a lot of time, make emotional decisions and then hunt for the data to reinforce what we already believe. And if you and I both made different decisions on an emotional side, you and I could look at the same data and pull out different points to make our point. How does, you seem to be really a scientific expert on the data component of slides. what would you say about that data, that the value of it versus the other side? Because I believe it one weighs off the other, and you it's actually storytelling. But how should I say? How do you identify data to help tell a story?
It's hard when you're trying to automate slide generation by just using data. I mean, I don't think that you have that emotional part that much in a automated solution or an automated presentation, because it's always the same template, but you are using and binding the information from your databases. So I mean, the data point and the generation of your slides, you always have the exact same story. It's just the numbers are varying every day. So it's a little bit different than a free format presentation that you can design compared to something that is generated by the system and updated by the system.
So the system becomes like the foundation for everything. And depending on how and what you want to use the data in the system, people are making their own presentations, and it reinforces a lot of the decisions that come up. I mean, we've all seen commercials on TV, and the first thing they show you is a poor child starving to death out, in a barren landscape. You can tell there's no water and stuff like that. Your heart goes out to it. And the next line says, for 50 cents a day, this person can starve less than a price of a cup of coffee. And you're sitting there going, I drink coffee every day. And you're there. And then the stats come up, and you start looking at the stats to reinforce that you want to help this person. You're like, gosh, it is less than 50 cents a day. And, I could go without a cup of coffee. And suddenly the emotional decision, I'm using the data to reinforce it. I'm just, it's the way storytelling is done. So that type of information becomes a value equation, because let's say you're selling plumbing parts, right? And the emotional sell is the drip you hear coming from underneath the sink. Drip, drip, drip. Everyone, your wife's nuts, you're nuts. The you know what I mean? You want everything done. And to a plumber, that's the cash register going ching ching. But the reality is, you've already made your decision to get in there. The moment you call the plumber, they're like $800. You're like, you start rationalizing it different because you're emotionally moved to getting it done. You're like, $800. God, that's 2 weeks work. I could get it done. But if it wasn't dripping so hard, you might say $800. Gosh, we can wait 2 weeks and work this out. And suddenly, but it's the emotional. That one has an actual hard consequence. I understand that. Yes. But you're emotionally charged to get it done right at that second, and therefore the data can be interpreted differently. So yes. We got a little bit.
You can use semaphores in presentation design, where you maybe display a red light and compared to a green light or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's kind of wrap this up. I understand you have 3 different businesses around presentations that you bring to life, and we feel they support presentation management, which is the study and the discipline of utilizing presentations as an enterprise communication system. How do your 3 software components support structured storytelling, presentation management, and overall presentation communication?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we can link your slides to data and display real-time information on television screens. Yeah. Next to that, you can generate reports and statistics based on PowerPoint design.
Okay.
So you can rotate as a portrait and then have a statistical report that you can generate on PowerPoint. You can send that information to screens worldwide. So you can physically send a PowerPoint presentation to remote screens. That's called digital signage and so on. And even more, you can also bring a presentation or send a presentation to a group of people where they see your presentation running as a screensaver on your television screen, on the computer screen. So you can send out a presentation to everyone's screensaver.
So those 3 things can be done through PresentationPoint, DataPoint, and Signage Tube is the signage component.
Yeah. And then also you can generate multiple. You can mail merge data into multiple documents so that you have a personalized individual presentation or PDF document, or even a movie if you have animation and suggestions. that you can send out to your customers.
So, hang on, you just hit on something. I can use a series of slides, queue up a movie on it, and time it to go on a TV at any time. So, if I wanted to put on Pulp Fiction now and right when it ended, have it queued up to watch Reservoir Dogs, and at the end of that, queued up to watch Shrek, I could have my TV programmed and planned, and I can have that on in front of me now. I could send it to my grandmother's house and let it play on her TV.
And it's based on PowerPoint. So
that's presentation management.
Yes, and you schedule and send it out to a smart TV.
Wow, every TV's smart nowadays, except for the ones you can't program. Then you feel dumb while the TV's smart.
Yes. And I call this Netflix for companies, because it's Netflix the other way around. You don't choose a movie to watch. You send out a movie or your advertising or your message, your story, to the television screens from your headquarters.
Why don't we name it CoFlix, Company Flix, as opposed to Netflix? People will understand it. Just a thought. All right, let's wrap up here with what it is. So Kurt is part of our publication coming out, a book called Presentation Hell. Kurt has added his expertise in data automation to slides and how it fits into the life cycle of a presentation. And we're happy to have him around. And when we get fully published in the near future, we'll be looking to have you back on the show. Anything you want to say, any ad, any promotion you want to put up right now and tell our crowd thank you?
Okay, I would just invite people to have a look at our website, PresentationPoint.com, and have a look at the book coming out soon.
Very good. Thank you for being here, Kurt. It's a wonderful day, and we're looking for a great future. Take care.
Thanks for the opportunity. Have a nice day, James. Bye-bye.